I'm Deepak Sir from Golden Public School. Today we are going to start the second part of the chapter Discovering Tut, the Saga continued. In the first part, we have studied that Tut was a just teenager when he died. It describes how the last teenager emperor, the boy's pharaoh, was discovered through the discovery of his mummy. We know that he was the last ruler of his family. He died young unexpectedly. His tomb was discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter, an English archaeologist, after a long search. Now we will come to know what happened then. We have completed up to this paragraph. Now we will start from after months of carefully recording. Yes, after months of carefully recording, the pharaoh's funerary treasure means treasure means the treasure that was kept with him at the time of his death. Treasure of the funeral is called funeral treasure. Carter began investigating his three nested coffins. Nested coffins, coffins looking like nest. They are called nested coffins. Opening the first, he found a shroud adorned with garlands of willow and olive oil. Means these are a kind of tree. It's soft tree. Okay, willow is a kind of tree. Olive oils, leaves. Wild celery means a wild plant is also there. Okay, and lotus petals, cornflowers, faded evidence of a burial in March or April. Yes, through these evidences we come to know that he was buried in March and April. We come to know. So note down these. This is a very important line that we come to know that he was buried in March or April. When he finally reached Mummy, though he ran into trouble. He got the trouble. Means Howard Carter got the trouble. The ritual resins means resins used at ritual. It is harder than cement. Had hardened cementing Tut to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. It has become harder. No amount of legitimate force, no amount of legitimate force could move them. Yes. When he finally reached the mummy, though he ran into trouble, means Howard Carter got the trouble, the ritual regents had hardened, cementing to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. Means his coffin was solid gold. Okay, no amount of legitimate force, means properly force, could move them. They were not able, the people, the worker, those who are working with Howard Carter, they were not able to move the mummy from that residence. Carter wrote later what was to be done, but he was also confused what was to be done. The sun can beat down like hammer. He was thinking this far south in Egypt means the heat is too much, scorching heat is there, and Howard Carter tried to use it to loosen the regions for several hours. You can see that Mediterranean, New Kingdom, Lebanon, Israel, Syria, and you can see the complete area of that western part. You can see the Valley of Kings. He was buried here. Valley of Kings, tomb of Tutankhamun. You can see Cayman. Red Sea, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. This is the part of Egypt, and he was buried here. Valley of the King. Tut. Africa continent is there. Yes, he set the mummy outside in blazing sunshine. You know why? He was thinking that heated it to 149 Fahrenheit, that it will heat and it will come just like it will melt just like a wax. Nothing buzzed, nothing happened, over there, nothing moved. He reported with scientific detachment, means objectivity, scientific objectivity, that the consolidated material had to be chiseled from beneath the limbs and trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remains. Means that was made, the consolidated was material, because mummy and regions, he was thinking that it would be separated with chisel. Means with the hammer and chisel it would be separated by giving the stroke, that it would be chiseled away, it will be taken away. And trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remain, it was not possible without doing without using the chisel and hammer to take it away. In his defense, Carter really had a little choice. He was not having any choice. If he hadn't, you know why he was just taking out the mummy, why he was just starting to break the mummy into pieces, because he hadn't cut the mummy. If he hadn't cut the mummy, thieves most certainly would have circumvented, prevented, surrounded, they were also were there, circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to move the gold. Means it was possible that the thief would steal the gold that was with Howard, that was with mummy of Tut's mummy. That is why he was using the chisel. In Tut's time, the royal were fabulously wealthy. They were having a lot of wealth. Fabulously means greatly. Ripped it apart, cut it open and separated. They wanted to cut it open. They have to cut it open because they were having the wealth and they thought or hoped they could take their riches with them. Afterlife. It was superstition, I told you earlier in June class also, and in the first video. It was superstition that they were thinking that he would need after death or he would get the rebirth also. Take their riches with them for his journey to the great beyond, means afterlife. King Tut was lavished with glittering goods, means shining goods, precious collars he was having. Many things were lavished, showered with gifts, glittering, shining. He was having at that collars, inlaid necklace. You can see the necklace also, bracelet, ornament of the wrist, rings, amulet, something worn as protection against evil. Just like we say that you should have some tabiz and thing also, amulets. Ceremonial apron, ritual cloak is a type of cloth. Sandals, sheets, coverings for his finger, sheets for his finger covering and toes. And now iconic inner coffin and mask. You can see having the quality of icon. That was very nice. Inner coffin also and mask was there. All of pure gold. They all were made of pure gold to separate Tut from his adornments. To separate Tut from his adornments, from his all the things which are mentioned above, inlaid necklace, bracelet, amulets, ceremonial apron, sandals, sheets. To separate his mummy from these things, Carter's men removed the mummy's head and severed nearly every major joint. Severed nearly every major joint. He had to do. He was not having any option. That is why he has to break every major joint. Once they had finished, they reassembled the remains on a layer of sand. After just breaking it, after doing the pieces, the mummy, they just fixed that in that position, in that pattern where it was placed earlier. But now it was not raising, it was sand where it was kept on a layer of sand in a wooden box, and with padding that concealed the damage. Means they have concealed the damage, hide the damage. The bed where Tut now rest. They have just laid the mummy on a sand where now Tut rest. Archaeology has changed substantially. Archaeology has changed substantially in the intervening decades. As the time passed, means in between, substantially greatly changed. You can see that. Focusing less on treasure and more on fascinating details of life. They were not focusing on treasure, they were focusing on life and intriguing mysteries of death. They wanted to know the secrets, that arising curiosity, that how did he die, when did he die. I told you these two questions are there. When did he die and how did he die? They were the things. It also uses more sophisticated tools, means modern tools were being used over there, including medical technology. In 1968, remember this one, in 1968, more than 40 years after Carter's discovery, more than 40 years after Carter's discovery, means Howard Carter discovery, after Howard Carter's discovery 1968, more than 40 years after, anatomy professor x-rayed the mummy and revealed a startling fact, amazing fact, beneath the reason that kicks his chest. He have seen that chest was there. His kicks his chest where the chest was there. His breastbone and front ribs are missing. He was saying that in the investigation of Howard Carter, breastbone and front ribs were missing. He was saying like this. My dear student, you must watch the video up to this paragraph, and you must understand the meaning of difficult words and sentences also, and note down the main points in the form of note making in your notebook. If you have any query, just please contact me. Thank you, student. Thank you very much.